What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video and today we actually got a new lifestyle. It's kind of insane, I have to say. They didn't really announce that in any way. They just sent us the event info and in there we suddenly found ourselves with 4 star souls in the store 6. One of which is Plume Time Manipulation, the new lifestyle skill. And for me personally, that's a huge introduction to the game because it arguably has the potential to change a lot of metas in PvP, in PvE, maybe even against bosses. This one though, not really a boss damage thing. It is right on the side here if you want to check it out. Plume Time Manipulation, fairly interesting. It has one of those skills on there where I thought it would never return to the game. And I thought the age just decided to take that away. And the skill I'm talking about is the most OP control effect in the game called shapeshifting. First introduced with Sherlock at that time, it was the most overpowered thing that we saw before. It is a control effect that not only blocks your enemy from making any moves, meaning active skills or basic attacks, it also blocks any passive skill. And at the time when this was released, passive skill used to also refer to the control purify. So even if you had control purify, you wouldn't get rid of this skill. And it is only resolved or removed after receiving 4 active skills or basic attacks. And I mean, receiving 4 active skills or basic attacks hurts quite a lot. And you can even, you can even design a team so that it doesn't hit all the enemies with active skills or basic attacks, especially if you run a lot of single target damage dealers, like for example the Cat or SFX, something like this. And you can of course also use passive skills to hit the enemy, like for example DT hits or something like a TBB passive or the passive from Low C from the Cat that hits the lowest HP enemy, something like this. And this also would not remove shapeshifting. They later on nerfed it, and now it is no longer blocking control purify, so you can remove it with control purify. Still, blocking the passive skills actually enables us to do a lot of things. Some things to keep in mind that are considered passive skills. The counterattacks from SQH actually don't happen when you dove SQH. So once shapeshifting, and I will refer to dove a hero with this, that will actually block this. So that is one of the most powerful abilities or most powerful things you face in PvE, will be blocked. CSG was quite the menace. Is not able to counter once he is inflicted with shapeshifting or doved. Valkyrie usually burns your team to a crisp once you CC her, not if you shapeshift her. Doesn't do anything once she's shapeshifted, so you can actually CC her without triggering her passive with this. Quite insane. And this is still pretty much one of the strongest CC effects, and is actually coming back here. Given with a lot less power than on the heroes we used to see it. Like, it is not the power level we saw on a Holmes Young active skill. It is after the hero X each time the effect will be triggered, and then there is a 66% chance to inflict shapeshifting on the enemy with the lowest HP for 15 rounds. Apparently control precision scales into this, at least the way the other skills are worded. So you kind of want to run a little bit of control precision to get this up. Of course, CCing is a trait or is an ability that is best used together with a mage hero, so you probably want to put this on a mage hero. If we check out the class abilities for from Treasure Train for mages and also from star spawns, we see there is control immunity, offset, control precision in there, and this will help with shapeshifting. So definitely something that indicates that we kind of want to put this on a mage. If the infliction is successful, we additionally inflict Black Hole Mark, which is an ability from Wraec. Hard to miss because they just copy-pasted this from Wraec. It's 4000% of Wraec's attack, which I hope I hope this is meant to be the hero's attack the lifestyle is on. But it's just worded incorrectly. It is a pretty nice ability. 4000% damage is not bad. It's mark damage, so it's defense ignoring. And it can one-shot through Unbending Will. So if you have a hero that hits a lot and then you have a Wraec mark on there, the Black Hole mark, you can one-shot an enemy through Unbending Will, which is quite insane. So not a bad ability at all. We see the strongest CC effect in here. We see one of the strongest marks in here, which is pretty good. Keep in mind that is also the second upgrade to this. So the first one that you get will likely have lower shapeshifting. We can't see it here, but this always has 2 upgrades. You get them pretty early on. Then we have the first passive skill. First passive skill The passives, I have to say, other than the last one, are a bit boring. If Star Soul fails to inflict shapeshifting, increase control precision of inflicting shapeshifting. So seems to be a special control precision just for shapeshifting by 40%. And control immunity offset by 13%, which, if the wording is correct, doesn't apply to the shapeshifting part. So it's just regular control immunity offset. We'll have to test that. But it's actually a nice buff. So you can get like 39% control immunity offset from this, which would be pretty good. Lasting until Star Soul or Star Soul Burst inflicts shapeshifting successful. So a little bit, makes it a little bit easier for the hero to inflict CC. Pretty good. Second one, at the beginning of each battle or at the end of each round, increase self all damage reduction by 33%. It will be invalid after being attacked by basic or active skill 1. So basically the first hit you take is a little bit lower. Not bad, not bad. We take it. Then we come to the Star Soul Burst. One, the hero releases Star Soul skills 3 times in total. The effect which you get after the next action grants all allies Beyond Vision. And then there is a sentence where I have to say it's a little bit confusing. Beyond Vision will be invalid after any releases basic attacks or active skills. Sounds like it gets removed from all allies after one ally does a basic attack, which I don't think is right. It's probably just that the ally once an ally acts, it loses their own Beyond Vision. So, not all the other allies. And afterwards, there's a 70% chance to inflict shapeshifting on up to 2 random allies. Targets who have taken the damage respectively for 2 rounds. If this infliction is successful, additionally inflicts Black Hole Mark on the target for 1 round. So this seems pretty powerful. So the way I understand this, and the wording is again not very good here. You put Beyond Vision on all the allies, which is a buff. It's very nice. Okay. Then when the allies do either a basic or an active skill, they lose their Beyond Vision, and through the losing process, also 2 of the enemies that receive damage from the basic or active skill are inflicted with shapeshifting, which would be insane. That would give potential to shapeshift the entire enemy team, which is super powerful actually. Activating this 3 times is tough. Takes a little bit of time, but it's possible. We saw it a lot. So it is not really something that will help you at the beginning of the fight. Likely, if you face a stage with SQH or something in there, it will not really help you clear that, as you will have to go through at least 3 turns to activate this. And that will also mean that you probably... It won't help you that much in PvE at least. It will be very nice for PvP and maybe for extended duration PvE fights, like the one we faced with Gustin. But spamming the enemy team in PvP fights with a ton of CC is always a good idea, and if we block their passive skills along the way, even better. Beyond Vision itself also has an effect. Lasts for 1 round, increases the target's precision by 100%, control precision by 100%, control immunity offset by 30%, crit rate by 40%, block by 100%, and dodge by 30%. So, not bad. The thing is, it lasts for 1 round. So, what you don't really want to do is have this, whichever hero has this, act last on your team. So you want to have this hero be pretty fast. Fastest or second fastest, probably best to have this be your fastest hero. And because 1 round always means after the buff is inflicted, once the round ends, it's gone. So that's a thing to keep in mind. I'm not sure, we have to test that, because the thing is, if this is removed apparently, or they lose it, it triggers shapeshifting. So I wonder if it runs out, if that also triggers shapeshifting. That could be an interesting mechanic to test. But this is a super powerful buff, obviously. So many stats that we buff will be highly likely to inflict control effects. We have a ton of crit. Unlikely to be blocked because we have extra 100% precision. Dodge, in case the enemy attacks your heroes, they will probably dodge, so that's pretty good. We get black hole marks, which are also great. So this is a very, 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 very strong ability, I have to say. Okay. That being said, as a limitation in that your hero wants to be fastest, so your allies get the buff and get to use it, and it needs to happen after the Star Soul is activated 3 times. So that's a bit of a duration thing also. Then we have the next passive bonus. If Star Soul skill or Star Soul burst fails to inflict shapeshifting, there is a 50% chance to inflict black hole mark on the target for 1 round. The thing is, we actually get a ton of black hole marks here. So that is actually a pretty high amount of damage that comes from marks, and mark damage is very, very good. So not a bad skill at all. Not a bad skill at all, even though it is very, very unspectacular. It is super long, but just because it explains shapeshifting and black hole mark, which I don't want to complain about. DH actually managed this time to explain the major things happening in their skills, so at least that. Now we come to the big gun. The big gun is this. When Self dies, Self will revive at the beginning of the next round. Meanwhile, restore Self HP equal to 100% of max HP, grants Self 100 energy. The effect can only be triggered once in each battle, and we have a further restriction. Heroes who have the reviving effect and related abilities cannot trigger this passive effect. So, a revive in itself is not a super strong ability. I mean, it's a nice ability to have, but you're revived probably without any buffs, so you lack like all damage reduction and stuff that just was received and makes your team more tanky, and many heroes scale such skills such as PDE makes your heroes harder to control. Then we have HHA with the shields and everything. Your hero will just have 100% HP and probably no unbending will, though we have to test that. Revives don't usually restore their unbending will, which means it's a pretty prone to being just one shot again. It is not bad because we at least have another 100 energy, and if we indeed put this on our fastest hero, then we will in all likelihood get another active skill from it. So pretty nice actually. There is one part of this skill that is a bit hard to understand. Heroes who have the reviving effect and related abilities cannot trigger this passive effect. What is a reviving effect? I would say a reviving effect, and my understanding is something like LDA, a hero that is revived. But some people were talking about how this could be referred to all effects centered around death, and of course now we have to test that a little bit, which we can't do today because this is a level 21 unlock. I was referring to skills like this self-transformed Phantom Remnant and then it's revived, something like this might just not work together with this skill. So that is something we'll have to take a look at and have to see how that works. But which hero now should you run this on? And I have a pretty clear opinion on this. I saw people who said, oh, I want to put it on like HHA or something for Stykes, which definitely no. You want to put it on a mage, which, oh, we can filter now. I forgot this is actually useful now. Very nice. We want to put this on a mage. So let's filter for mage. And there are our mages. And one of those or two of those have an on-death effect. Why is an on-death effect important? Well, an on-death effect is something that we could probably re-trigger. So if an effect that happens when the hero dies and we can reuse it, could be very powerful. SDE is a weird one because there we get like the sun, and the sun changes, and I don't know how this is supposed to work because potentially there could be like the dark sun up there. And then she could do another active skill and cast the other sun. I don't know how this is going to work. It could be super OP. I think it will be super bugged. The hero I want to use it on is this, Infinite Error Alikita. Infinite Error Alikita has the strongest on-death effect in the game. It happens to be a mage, happens to be a hero you want to have pretty fast, and does a ton of damage when she's fast. So we can buff her damage even further with the Lifestar, and then we get to use Destiny rank 6 transition skill for on-death effect. So when Self has 12 layers of transition power, consumes all of them to inflict data destruction on all enemies 3 times. Afterwards, deals 1500% damage to all enemies. For every one debuff the target has, deals extra 1500% of damage. And now you say, well, but what about the on-death effect? When Self dies, triggers the same effect with no consumption. Madness. Madness, I tell you guys. It's absolute madness, actually. And data destruction randomly inflicts one of the following effects for 2 rounds, attack minus 15%, a ton of debuffs we get there. But we get to trigger this without any cost. So this is actually mad. We just trigger this effect, put it on the enemy, and they get to deal a ton of damage there. And I think that's just the best combination of hero we have. So putting this on her, we get to have a mage, we get all the control immunity offset, we get all of the CC potential, we get to put CC on a hero that doesn't regularly inflict CC with his active skill, inflicts authority manipulation. And then we also have the nice extra thing. We also get this skill again. When being killed, inflicts authority manipulation on all enemies 3 times. The conversion from an attribute buff to debuff. And then we also have Curse of Decay, the Forces mark, which we get 3 layers of. And then we get Structure Inversion for our own team. And increasing all damage dealt by allies whose enemies with attribute reduction by 20%. So we get to re-trigger that. And increase all allies speed. So we have so many effects that happen on her death, on top of having CC, then on top of being a mage, on top of being a hero you desire to be super fast. So all of that combined into one hero, and this is like the most insane thing that you could do with it, I guess. And this also puts it a little bit into perspective. In my opinion, this makes it probably the strongest PvP lifestyle that we have. Because this ability and this combination has the potential to be the strongest thing that we have in PvP. I think that is something that we can say at this point. Where is it ranked? Like, which one should you go for? I still stand with Spectre. Spectre, in my opinion, is still the strongest one. We have energy in there, which is super strong. We have the special attribute reduction purify that you get from this. This one, I think, is still the #1 thing to go for. Afterwards, you are free. I think max this one, put it to at least 21, and then go for another one. And why go for it? I upgraded Nova Sacred Flame as a second one. Given if that was released at that time, I would have probably gone for Plume Time Manipulation as the second one because I fancy this effect. I think it will be very cool. I think Sacred Flame is a bit weaker than Plume Time Manipulation, but Sacred Flame can be used in PvE against bosses. So if you rather have more damage against bosses, maybe Nova Sacred Flame, even though it's not a super strong effect. I think Pupil Eternal Darkness is still the weakest one. So that being said, stay tuned for my live stream tomorrow. And other than that, I wish you a great day. We'll see us in the next one.